Hello and welcome back to our sustainable journey. I'm Steve. Today we are going to feed those worms some of our compost. So I'll show you that in just a second. All right, I am on the tractor. I'm gonna head out, go grab a small scoop of our hot compost. So we started this a couple weeks ago, just because the volumes ramped up substantially, and so we needed a place to let it set and break down. It helps get some of the juices. What people don't realize is that, like, I don't know, maybe a third of their food scraps are liquids. That's just wasted in a worm bin. It just comes out as leachate. It is not worm tea. It is leachate, so you don't want it. It's bad stuff. And so we need to add copious amounts of cardboard to our hot compost pile. The way that works is greens and browns, right? So your greens are your food scraps, your browns are leaves, cardboard, things like that, dead plant matter, and you want 2/3 brown to 1/3 food scraps is that particular split. And so basically for every 1,000 pounds of food scraps we add to the pile, we add 2,000 pounds of cardboard to the pile. So we monitor our weights and our piles and things like that, and we're turning them and making sure that all that's going on. So we've been doing that the last month to make sure that it's a proper mix. And then what we do is, once it's broken down a little bit, we'll feed it to the worms. So that's what the tractor's all about. We're gonna go get a scoop from one of the piles, and we'll give it to those new worms. Is what we'll treat today. So. Going backwards. Got me. Switch out my pallet forks for the bucket, so we'll do that first. I don't know if we've talked about that. That is our diesel, special farm diesel. So what that is that is a 500-gallon tank of diesel for the tractor here. It's dyed, so I think it's pink. They dye it pink or red or something like that. But I remember I think that's the color. That's the way it looks in the tank anyway. That way you can't drive it on the road, especially for farms. And it's cheaper, so you don't pay the taxes. So it's like less than $3 a gallon. I think is what it ended up being, right around $3 a gallon, which is way cheaper than you can get at the pump. So I gladly signed up for that. So that's that. And then light trailer. That is our new trailer. That's bigger than the red trailer, because we've added so many more commercial customers that we needed something bigger. We're probably going to be adding another truck or something, probably like a what's the word I'm looking for? A box truck with lift gate. It'll hold more. You don't need a CDL. It's nothing fancy. And then our drivers can use that to pick up the bins from all the different restaurants and stuff. And we just this morning quoted a hospital that wanted 10 bins. So we'll see how that goes. Dogs are kind of bored. All the chickens are still locked up. We're still looking for that bobcat. We can still hear it in the middle of the day and at night, but I haven't seen it yet. So more on that once we see it. So that is the bucket that I need. So swap it out, pull a pin there, pull a pin there, and then it's just a matter of lowering it and it'll pop off. So this is the quick attach system. So you just pull this out and that'll lower it down. So it's kind of neat. All right, so you just pull it down, lower it, and disconnect from that, and then I can connect to the bucket. We're going to do this on the first try. No is the answer. There you go. And we'll put the pins back in. See, we've been dumping compost. We're rotating compost, I guess. Put that in. I'm gonna go grab a scoop. There's Duke, there's Sarge, hanging in the shade. It's hot. We're in a heat advisory until tomorrow night at 9, I think. It's supposed to be 97 or something like that right now, which isn't too terrible for some folks in Arizona and California and things like that, but it's pretty hot for us. I think we're supposed to set a record for heat here in Illinois in July with that temperature. We'll head over to our hot compost, crank it up a little bit. All right, so I grabbed a small scoop. So you can see some of the bags that are still breaking down, but the rest of this looks pretty fully broken down in just a couple of weeks. It's pretty good. So let me get the side by side, and we'll do this out here in the sun. That way it's easier to see. Oh. All right, I'm sweating profusely, and I haven't even done anything yet. Okay, so we have Worm Nerd Red Wigglers and Northeast Orange Red Wigglers. So, oh, they're all over the top. They love to crawl on top. Let's get some tools. All right, let's dig in here. There they are. Oh, they're still eating. Oh, that's all right. They're going to get more food. Yeah. I know. So I'm going to feed them over in this corner this time. All right, come on, guys. Get in there. So, I'm going to give them a scoop. Let's give them this especially sticky stuff. That That's a coconut. I know this because I remember turning it many times. That is, so you can see, a couple of coconuts. Who is giving us coconuts? I'm curious. I should tag these. See how long it takes to break down a coconut. So we'll get a nice scoop and put that in there. I'll give them a few more scoops because this stuff is pretty broken down. Another scoop. Curious how long it would take the worms to break down a coconut. There we go. And then we'll rebury that with just some of this excess peat moss. There we go. One done. Many more to go. So these guys, oh, they're all up top. See? Those, so you can see the things crawling are mites, and they're okay. Those other things, see, that's a maggot. Fly larvae. See, those are all fly larvae of some sorts. See them all over the lid? Because that one bin that had flies, see, maggots like the potatoes. And this is why you keep your bins outside when you're at the scale. See? See the maggots? It's alright, we don't mind them. They break everything down too. So the worms, oh, this is the one where they gave us a ton of soil. Alright, so let's give them some food scraps. I can actually feel the heat radiating off this stuff, so I need to be careful. That's a drawback to hot compost, as it heats up, as the name implies, and the worms don't like that, so we don't want to cook them. All right, I'll put that there, and then I will cover that up. Okay, so there's your worm ball. All right. Okay. Cover that back up. So that was Worm Nerd and Northeast Worms. Let me go get a couple more. All right, we'll do the two Uncle Jims next. So these are the red wigglers. They have just about broken everything down here. And these are the ENCs, white crawlers. Doing a good job. Those flies got into everything. That's alright. Alright, so let's get them a scoop. Gosh, I can feel the heat radiating off of this. So, put that there. Cover it up a little bit. Yeah, they're still breaking that down. I'm just gonna leave it like that. And then this one, I think they were fed in that corner. Oh, look at how tiny they still are. They're still very tiny from Uncle Jim. That's interesting. Come on. Oh, that's a big wad. Let's do that. There we go. And we'll feed them in this corner. Do one more. Oh yeah. Okay. There we go. We'll cover that up. Put the worm ball on top of it. There we go. So all I'm really trying to do with these different worm sets is get their population big enough that I can move them over to one of the big bins and do a whole bin from these sets. So that's all we do, is break out from one of our bins, do a couple of these breeder bins, get them big enough, and then add them over to a new big bin, and then go from there. So as we sift out, we'll have a new empty big bin, and that's kind of the idea, is we'll take that empty big bin, start up a couple of these, take some of this hot compost, and get the worms working it. Okay, all right, these are the Buckeye red wigglers and the Buckeye night crawlers. I don't know if you can tell how dang hot out it is, but this is killer. All right, so they're all in that corner for the night crawlers, and the red wigglers are over in that corner. So let's make sure. Come on. There they are. All right. And then over here. There they are. All right. So they're over in that corner. So we're gonna give them a scoop of our compost. Nice hot compost. Put it in that corner. Yep. Looks almost like clay, some of that. Alright. Cover it back up. And then we'll do the other ones. In this corner. I have no idea what that was. Watermelon of some sorts, maybe? Looks kind of watermelon-like. Alright. Cover that back up. We'll put them back. I'm gonna go inside and get some ice water, because this is exhausting. I'm not even doing anything, I'm just feeding the worms. But holy cow. Alright. This heat is no joke. I've been out here maybe a half hour and I am completely exhausted and sweating profusely. I'm not a small guy either, but still, this is nuts. So stay hydrated, people. Anyway, there you have it. If this was in a home, I would be concerned with the amount of flies. We compost outside and our worms are outside for 6-9 months of the year. So flies don't bother me. They help break everything down. They're not bad. They're all composters, the maggots, the flies, the black soldier flies, the worms. Everybody works in harmony. The pill bugs, there's always pill bugs. So all that stuff helps break everything down, and that's totally fine. In an indoor worm bin, you probably would not want flies, or black soldier flies, or any of those other pests, so to speak. And so to treat for like the mites and things like that, there's bread. So you put in a slice of white bread, the mites flock to it. You know, a few hours later, you can pull out that slice of bread and discard it. That's one way to get rid of mites. As far as the worms, or the maggots and the fruit flies and the flies, there's diatomaceous earth. You sprinkle that in the bin, that'll kill the flies and the fruit flies. There's also apple cider vinegar. You can do that for fruit flies as well. That'll attract them. and get rid of them, get them out of the bin. There's flypaper, I guess, if you wanted to go that route. But those are kind of the other ways are kind of the organic ways to get rid of those pests. We don't really get rid of too many pests, except for animals and critters and things like that in the bins. The rest of them help break everything down, so I don't mind them. So there you go. So hot compost, mix your greens and browns. Make sure you're doing there's websites out there that'll tell you how much green versus brown certain products have, so that you can make sure you're kind of doing the right ratios, because you don't want to have the wrong mix. Because if you had too much food scraps or too much brown, it'll cause problems. Too many browns will just make your bin slow down. Too many greens will make your bin stink. So you just need to make sure you get the right ratio, and if you don't have the right ratio, you can always just focus on turning your bin more often. That helps, but you want to get the right ratio. So we always add tons of browns, and we turn the pile at least once a week to make sure that it's getting enough airflow in there as well, so nothing goes anaerobic. So that'll be it for today. I will see you all next week. Have a good one. Well, I guess we're going to know the year. What do you think? The least scientific method? All right, we'll put it back in the bin. We'll see how long it takes to break down.